Guys, as always, I use smartphones on a daily basis and only then give you a review after a long time of use. And today, Redmi Note 9 Pro after 3 months of daily use. This phone was my daily driver for all this time. There were a lot of things and comments from people about the design of the phone. They used to say that Redmi looks really nice. And also once I dropped it on the pavement, but thanks God nothing happened. And in this video I would like to highlight a few negative points about this phone. Actually, I won't talk about the pros, I'll just run it briefly because there have already been so many laudatory reviews on YouTube, so I have nothing else to say, but not many are talking about negative aspects. About them today in particular we'll talk. But first let's talk about money. At the time of recording this video, this Redmi costs about 210 for the white version 664. A color like mine costs a little more, but it looks more interesting and fresher than white or black to me, but this is of course a matter of taste. Well, I'll tell you briefly how I use this smartphone. I use it with a case that was in the box. I decided not to buy anything else. I also use it without any protective films. And if you look at the back side, you can see a few small scratches. The back side, by the way, is covered with the 5th Gorilla. Along the perimeter, since the frame is made of plastic, there were a few, I don't know what to call them, these small elevations. In general, where and how they got out there, it is not clear for me. But even on camera, they are quite difficult to show, so we can assume that they are particularly not there. But Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on the front side is scratched. There are many small scratches, but most of all the parts of the screen to the left of the camera was scratched. I even cling to these scratches with my fingernail. But in general the Gorilla protected the screen quite well and nothing terrible happened to my phone. Whoa, and here's another thing I wanted to say. The dust near the camera is very much clogged. Under it, around it, especially with the cover. You have to constantly clean and wipe it. But I generally like the way the Redmi looks. It doesn't look like some cheap plastic, but it looks really premium and it is very pleasant to work with it, especially I like it with this green color. Now let's talk about the complaints that some people talk about on the forums. And the first thing I would like to talk about is vibration on a smartphone. It is different here, more pleasant for the fingers, so to speak, improved. Xiaomi calls it Z-axis linear vibration motor. But on the forums I have seen comments that this vibration is weak and you don't feel it in your pocket. Well, what I did, first I compared it with several smartphones, with Poco X3 and with Samsung A51. On Poco the vibration is absolutely the same, so there are no questions about it, but on Samsung A51 the vibration is simpler and feels cheaper, and I cannot say that it differs in strength. The vibrations are approximately the same in strength. In short, I am personally satisfied with the vibration on this phone, and I like the fact that they began to install improved motors in cheap devices. The second complaint on forums, that's sometimes smartphone reboots. Honestly, I have not observed this, and in fact the forum even has a vote on this issue. If you believe the vote, then reboots are found in about 12% of users, and this is for every 9th user. That is quite a lot, but thank God I don't have this issue in my phone. The third complaint about this smartphone is the incorrect operation of the proximity sensor. For many it does not work correctly. Believe it or not, I have the same thing. During a call the screen can easily become active. It so happened that the guy that I was talking to stopped hearing me due to accidentally pressing the mute button with my cheek. Well, it turns out that I joined this complaint, and this is my first disadvantage of this phone. The fourth complaint is a float LED indicator, and I agree with that. Well, it's very weak. You can see it if you look directly at the phone, but you cannot see it at an angle. Certainly better than nothing, but here Xiaomi could have tried better. And for me this is the second disadvantage of this phone. The fifth point or the fifth complaint is that this phone has too sensitive auto rotation. It's too gentle. Auto rotation really works too easily. That is, for example, I launched some kind of content on the screen and I want to just put the phone on the table in order to consume it from the table. And you know what happens? Auto rotation happens. But that's not all. Auto rotate works even when you don't expect it at all. When you hold your phone horizontally and you just want to perform some kind of operation. Look at a short comparison with the OnePlus Nord. Nord screen doesn't rotate from the fact that I put it on the table, and the Redmi Note 9 Pro rotates. This is terribly inconvenient. But of course you can turn off auto rotation in menu, but to be honest I cannot call it a way out. And for me this is no longer a complaint but a full-fledged third disadvantage of this phone. The sixth complaint on the forums is the fingerprint scanner. I have some bugs with it. It happens that fingerprint scanner struggles, and this struggling is expressed like this. You put your finger on the scanner and scanner just does not react to your finger. And then you just have to unlock the smartphone by entering the PIN code. And after the screen scanner wakes up, and after that, the screen scanner wakes up and starts working normally. And for me, this is the fourth disadvantage of the Redmi Note 9 Pro, because it was quite common. Well, the smartphone has 4 disadvantages for myself: incorrect operation of the proximity sensor, a flawed event indicator, too sensitive auto rotation of the screen, and a buggy fingerprint scanner. But guys, you shouldn't think that I didn't like this phone. Redmi has a lot of positive moments. This is the appearance with the Gorilla Corning glasses on front and back, fast charging that charges the 50-100 milliamp hours in almost 1 hour, and this charge is enough for me for about 8 or 9 hours of the screen on time. Snapdragon 720G, 3.5mm jack, NFC that I constantly used in the shopping centers, and the photo and video capabilities of this smartphone. Video recording is not the best, but the photos on the Redmi Note 9 Pro are quite good. Here are a bunch of examples of photos. Links to the best prices of this phone will be in the description. I really hope that my review after 3 months of use was useful for you. My name is Evgeny. If you didn't know, subscribe to my channel if you didn't yet, and have a nice day. Всем добра!